Hey guys, welcome back to my world of modeling. This is Dan here as always, and in today's video we're going to be doing a very special video for you guys. It is the end of 2023. Happy New Year's to all of you guys. I want to say hope you all had a great holiday season. I hope you all have some great goals and great plans for the next year here, and I just can't believe how fast this last year has gone by. I'm definitely optimistic. I'm ready for some changes, some new projects and different things coming up in this next year. But to wrap things up this year, I thought of doing something extra special for you guys, and I've been requested to do this before and it's never quite worked out, but in this case I actually have everything out to be able to do this. We're going to be doing a complete locomotive update of all of my engines, roster tour essentially, and I have a lot of really heavily customized engines, lots of Athearn Genesis, mostly Athearn. I pretty much am one of those modelers who really tries to standardize locomotives in particular so they're easier to work on, but I do have some scale train stuff. I don't think I have any scale trains locomotives finished right now, so the vast majority of the locomotives we're actually going to see in this video are all Athearn engines. Some GEs, majority of which are going to be EMDs, and there's a lot of leasers, so for all of you Lease fans, get ready. Let's go ahead and jump right into this exciting video, guys. Here it is, guys. My entire, or rather a part of my locomotive fleet, at least the majority of the ones that I have finished at this point, or at least mostly finished. I have a lot of Lease units. I have a lot of SD40s. SD40s happen to be my favorite type of engine, obviously, and I've accumulated quite a large fleet of these locomotives in time. I've gone and done a lot of rebuilds, a lot of heavy overhauls and things like that, but I do have a lot of modern power that I've also customized here, and this is actually where I'm going to start this video off. So the first engine that I actually have here is an Athearn SD40N. This is a 1618, one of the really nice snoot units that they offered a couple years back. Heavily customized this one, did a lot of detailing, nice weathering, faded things down a little bit, lots of really cool touches. It's got the little broom on there, a custom PTC that was custom built, antenna details, pilot details, lots of really nice customized details there. The next two engines I have here are actually two SD70Ms, one from the first one and one from the second run. First one is 4921. This is a nice flared radiator unit, and I used to see these all the time, and now you just don't really see them that much, at least around here. And I wanted two versions, and honestly I could use some more. 4921, like I said, is a 70M. I just added the PTC antennas to this. Lots of nice weathering, of course. And then the second one is 4714. Again, this one is weathered to prototype photos. Equipped it with a PTC antenna. Did all the detailing on the roof, as you can see. This one looks really nice as well. It's got all the grime. Honestly, both these units are definitely due for kind of some touch-up weathering here, but it's currently my only pair of 70Ms that I have. But I really could use a third, possibly even a fourth. Of course, I got my trusty pair of Union Pacific Gevos, and these have still yet never run on the layout. They're ready to go, but the only thing they really need is some touch-up weathering. But the first one I bought was 5252 from years and years ago. A really nice engine, custom weathered, of course. First unit I've ever done with a faded flag. I actually thought that held up pretty well over time, and it honestly looks pretty good still. And then the second one here is a very heavily faded unit, and this is before Prime for Grime, so all the fading on this and all the weathering was done by me. So it's got a lot of the roof fading, a lot of the patchy paint peeling and everything like that. It's got the nice pre-weathered flag there as well, where I had to fade that down with an airbrush and a little bit of oil blending. It's got a lot of unique details like that. Both of these are equipped with PTC antennas, of course, as well. Get those updated to current specs. This pair of units here is from 2018. Two SD40M-2s. I got the 2723 and the 2738, which is still in the process of being built up. As you can see, I'm currently fabricating the custom handrails for it and making the handrails for the sides right now. Both of these are custom painted Athearns. So I got the 2723, which is an SD40, a true SD40, rebuilt to -2 specs. Lots of custom details, heavy weathering, of course, custom fans, all kinds of really nice details there, custom pilot details. The 2738 was a much heavier rebuild because I had to modify the radiators. When Morrison Knudsen rebuilt these, they respaced the SD40 fans more appropriate to how an actual SD40 has the fans spaced close together, while SD45 has them spaced apart. You can see that they actually are clustered together, and I actually had to hand fabricate that plate there. And so this one has been quite a project, and it's the last one waiting to get completed, but it's got all the prototypical details, and these are both modeled to appear as they did before Union Pacific got rid of these and sold them to NREX. These next two units here, Union Pacific Jeep 40-2s, the rare and elusive 1300 series units that Athearn did that you can't find anymore, and when you do find them, you're going to pay $500 for them. So yeah, Athearn, if you're listening, please rerun these. Anyways, the first one is an Rio Grand unit. It's got all the prototypical UP details and things like that. The only thing I had to do with this pretty much was add some of the roof details and weathering, but at this point they both need PTC, because as of current day both these units have PTC. So there's the 1342. The next one is an XSP prototype, and honestly one of my favorites. It's the 1381 there, and I really wish I would have gotten 2 SP units when I had the chance. I would have done 2 numbers of SPs, but yeah, what do you do? I didn't have the money at the time. I only got 2, and then of course these all sold out and you can't get them anymore. So that's what it is, but I could always go and build one. I just don't feel like it. So that's 1381. Again, some separate details that I added and upgraded and did some weathering, of course, and things like that. So I just tried to make these look a little bit more modern, a little bit more weathered down, and blended in, so to speak. But they still could use some PTC antennas. Now I'll get into some fun Lease locomotives, and as you can tell, I love my Lease engines. The 4211 here was one that was actually stationed in Fostoria for a number of months in the winter of 2014, 2015, I believe. And I got to see it numerous times. And this is an ex-ICE unit, so I used an Athearn Genesis ICE unit, repainted the blue and the yellow, detailed it according to prototype photos, weathered it of course, and detailed it up, and it's ready to go. Really nice Genesis model, one of my favorites, as you can see. And it's another XSP unit, so it's nice and beefy looking, just like the 1381 right next door to it here. And then over here I got the HLCX 4300. This is one of a kind GP40Xs, and actually the only GP40X that HLCX owned. This is modeled to look like it was still around today. This did get sold to the Lake State, I believe in Michigan, and then later on it got scrapped. So unfortunately this unit is no more. But I did model it kind of with a little bit of fictionalized touches to just make it look like it's been weathered in a little bit more. But it's got a cab interior and everything like that. Added all the new details to it. Ditch lights, all kinds of cool little fun things like that. Another SP unit here. I actually have a lot of SP units, really. This is 9300, another real true rent-to-wreck unit. This is an SD45T-2 that Athearn offered, and it's already kind of pre-patched, basically, in the Prime for Grime series, but I really went and took the ball and ran with it on this one because I wanted to model a lot of peeling paint and really make it look beat up, so I did a lot of acrylic work on this to make the peeling paint effects, as you can see. Lots of rust and grime running down from the grills, everything like that, and the patchwork was modified a little bit. Lots of other body detailing, pilot details, lots of prototypical detailing, and it just turned out super nice. It's a really nice rent-to-wreck, true rent-to-wreck locomotive. Still got the old bell up there on the top of the roof, a true SP feature. Really nice speed lettered engine. These next 3 units are all LTEX SD45T-2s, and it's actually, as it turns out, my only other complete set of Athearn units that they offered. These were done in, I think, 2000, really the 2000s, like 2008 or 2009. Athearn did all 3 LTEX SD45Ts that they had in the UP scheme. 9965 is the first one. It's the rarest out of all of them to find. I did this one according to prototype photos, so I added a lot of specific details. New couplers, ditch lights, touched up the patching, made it a little bit more accurate. Lots of detailing to the roof, underbody detailing, full weathering, of course, to really make it look nice, as you can see. And it's, again, one of my personal favorites because it's just a true rent-to-wreck. That black roll-on patching is just awesome. The next one I did was 4972, another LTEX 45T-2. And this one is, again, detailed to prototype photos, rather the only photos that there are out there. I think there's only like 2 or 3. And there's one photo of this thing when it was still 4972, which you can at least match some of the detailing to. Still has the red sill, as you can see. And I just, again, weathered this one, detailed it up according to prototype photos, added all the specific details that I needed to it to make it look accurate. And it ended up coming out really well. I love the look of those things. They just look nice and beat up, as you can see. And on this one here, the 4912, again, another rare one to find. This one has the SP tall stand ditch lights, the wacky looking spray painted on number board, really cool there. Athearn actually supplied that in the engine, which was really neat. So again, just hand weathered this one, detailed it up according to prototype photos. It's got all the prototype specific details, weathering, and then all that was done. And it's just another nice, really beat up old rent-a-wreck. These are some HLCX 40T-2s. This is the 6145 and the 6112. Both came out about the same time. 6145, this one was, again, like every other engine, prototype detailed and weathered to look like the real engine as it appeared. This is an Rio Grand 40T-2, as you can see, so it has the 88-inch nose, and all the details were hand done, lots of separately applied details and things to really improve the overall look of these tunnel motors. I should also mention, most of you know, I modify the tower gear on all my Atherns. It creates a dummy truck in the rear, so you only have a front powered truck, but these still can pull quite a few cars, and these are only meant to run trailing B, so these aren't meant to pull freight by themselves. These aren't meant to be leading a train anytime soon. The real ones are only used in trail B positions anyway, unless absolutely necessary. So I modified the tower gear, remove that, so that these are completely see-through, as you'll see. And if we look at the 6112 here, you'll see how that grille is completely see-through. All these units have the see-through grille. On the 6112 here, former SP SD40T-2, it's got a completely rebuilt nose, lots of separately done details, custom patched nose, eliminated the class lights and everything like that that was on the stock Athearn. Redid a lot of the specific details because some of them just weren't exact. And Athearn did a decent job doing the patching and stuff, but there was still room for improvement. Added the SP jacking patch to this. And then on the roof you can see the extensive weathering I did there too. A lot of paint peeling effects, things like that. Lots of rust and grime. Really, really nice. Lots of separately applied details on the roof, and then lots of deck grime, things like that. Super nice. And as you can see, my Dachshund is currently checking out the engines too. So let's go ahead and get her down because I don't want her grabbing one. That'd be the worst thing ever. You can wait. Alright, so moving to the next row here, this is going to be a little bit challenging. CEFX 3142 is another SD40M-2 that I did, and it's actually the first SD40M that I did. It has all of these separately applied details again, custom paint job, custom weathering, all that was done to prototype photos and specs. The next CEFX unit is a yellow Union Pacific SD40M-2, again patched to CEFX, and the red lettering. These are a lot rarer than the Bluebirds. The Bluebirds were completely overhauled, while the Union Pacifics were just pretty much patch-out engines. So it definitely needs a little bit of improvement. It's my best running SD45 I have, and it definitely needs some upgraded details and things at this point, some touched up weathering, but it's currently in the process of waiting. I've almost sold it a few times now, and fortunately, I've come to my senses and backed out last minute, or decided not to list it on eBay or something, so that was a good thing, because I definitely would like to at least have one of these. Now moving into the HLCX Blue and Maroon SD40s, these are some really cool ones. They're a real jumbled mess of different prototypes. 6313 here was the famous one. I modeled this one as it appeared on CSX when I was still being leased by CSX. It's currently on the WSOR and it's changed in appearance quite considerably, but I modeled this one with an Athearn SD40, detailed it up. It's got the really, really unique triple class trucks, which of course have been modified at this point, which is whatever, what do you do? GMD specific details like handrails, plow, and things like that. It's a really unique engine because it's a GMD built prototype made for a Mexican railroad and later inherited by HLCX where it ran in America. The next unit here is HLCX 6091, and this one again is a GMD prototype, a full CN rebuild, so it's got the unique CN steps as you can see, custom handrails, stand ditch lights, custom plow, nose lights, full cab interior, lots of separately applied details to make this prototypically accurate to the real 6091, and I even added the lowered fan, modified the rear end there. It's got a really unique rear hood with no number boards and no class lights, and then the vertical headlight. Lots of GMD details specific on the back there as well, and this one actually has spinning bearings. Something I tried to start doing on these, and it was a good idea in theory until you actually started running these things and the bearings fell out. But it was a cool idea, but this one still has them. At some point in time I'll have to upgrade those back to regular non-spinning bearings though. Next GMD prototype, 6319. Another GMD unit, an XQ&SL SD40, and this one has a full cab interior. It's got the open cab doors you can see, custom paint job, custom weathering, modified the rear grille, custom done trucks. It's got the little louvers in the back there, custom handrails, everything like that was modified. This one was a real bear to do, but one I really wanted. You can see it has the modified nose light where the nose light was removed and put over the cab. The next engine over is 6086, a X Penn Central SD40, pretty standard, just detailed this up, custom painted, Athearn locomotive, obviously. And then the 6081 is another SD40. These are all pretty much classified as SD40M-2s or SD40M-3s. Except the 6313, which is just an SD40-2. These are all rebuilt. A lot of these have the Woodward CLC equipment inside them. And again, on the 6081 here, CLC SD40-3, ex-Union Pacific modified this one to look like it had been upgraded and modernized a little bit. Probably the most heavily weathered next to 6319, which is pretty faded. Lots of grime work, lots of detailing and things like that took place on that one, but again, it's another Athearn. The next SD40 I did was 6300, another passion project of mine, being that I had seen the 6300 before and wanted to make a model of it. Complete stripped down rebuild of an Athearn SD40. It's got custom handrails, custom paint job, full cab interior, lots of separately applied details, lots of roof work, all kinds of really nice touches to make this thing look as authentic as possible. It's another real true rent-a-wreck. 6205, or excuse me, 6204. Another veteran SD40-2 of mine. I've had this one for years. I built it many years ago now, and it's survived this long, so I've kept it in good condition, kept it in running condition. I've gone back through over time and touched up some of the weathering, changed some of the weathering, upgraded some of the cab details, for example, and things like that. And it's just stood the test of time, so it's all pretty much ready to go. It's just waiting for a decoder right now. Or actually, it does have a decoder in it, so it is ready, it just needs programmed. CITX 3079, another SD40, another GMD prototype, custom built with a lot of different parts, separately applied parts, scratch built parts. This one has modernized handrails and steps according to the Alstom rebuild program there, but it does still have the nose light indicating it's a GMD unit. Lots of different specific details like the plow and the lift rings were added. Cab details, cab interior, custom paint job, custom weathering. This one has the Furix doors, you can see. That's a really unique feature on this 3079 here. Lots of really nice details. It's my only gray ghost at the moment. I did have an SD40R, I think 3112, but I ended up selling that, but I need to redo that one. Just off the workbench finished are these two engines, my first two William & Lake Erie prototypes. I got Rio Grand 5413 and SD40T-2, and then I have the 6315, which is a very extensively modified Athearn SD40-2, completely decked out with GMD specific details, EMD specific details, custom paint job, lots of really unique parts like the 3 windows, for example, custom fans, custom handrails, lots of underbody detailing, custom spacing for the fuel tank, which is a real bear again, being that this is a GMD prototype. The fuel tank spacing is wonky, so I had to modify that. Fully patched for William & Lake Erie, as you can see, and then again with the 5313 or 5413, modeled it as it looked a couple years back before it got kind of wonky in terms of getting some details changed and the weathering kind of changed a little bit. Just a current Athearn SD40T-2, again modified the rear tower gear, and then I also changed some decals, detailing, and things like that to make it a lot more authentic. Full cab interior, lots of weathering on the front pilots, changed some stuff there, redid all of the orange, including on the Rio Grand logos and chevrons, to make it lighter and more of a yellow color. Kind of faded down like they've been touched up a little bit, and then it's got the William & Lake Erie patching on the cab sides. Coming around here to my longest surviving build of any that I have on this table right now is the 3415. It's an SD40-2. It's my only Kato, and it's a real rent-a-wreck LTEX unit here. It hasn't been run in years, but this was done according to prototype photos with a lot of specific details and things like that. I had found this Kato unit at a train show for like 40 bucks. Figured I could do a unit like this, and as it turned out, it ended up coming up pretty well, but of course, as you can see, it just doesn't compare very well with a lot of the more modern units. The weathering is a little funky. That was my early attempts at trying to do patchy paint job, and this was all acrylic, so it's lacking a lot of the depth and detail that oils can provide me, and a lot of the powder work can. But it's all acrylic, pretty much, and all the patching was done with acrylic paints, custom decaling, and things like that. Prototype-specific details on the pilots. I have gone and changed some of the details out, like I've upgraded the ditch lights, I've upgraded the coupler bars and the plow a few times as new parts have come out. But this thing either needs a complete rebuild or it's just going to go in a display case. I don't want to change it too much, being that it's one of my last units built, also at my old house, my old workbench where it all started, where the madness began. So it survived this long, and it's still one of those really cool units I still have in my collection. Next up, CSX SD40s. I got the 8888 because, of course, you got to have an 8888. And Athearn did this locomotive right around the time the Unstoppable movie came out, which was really unique. And these are really rare to find. Good luck finding one of these now. I got mine at a hobby shop for 80 bucks, and I fixed it up and detailed it according to prototype photos of the real 8888s, which is now a -3, unfortunately. But it's a nice X-Conrail unit. I like the look of these X-Conrails with the flexi-coil trucks and the anti-climber. A really big, beefy-looking anti-climber. That's all prototypically detailed. This next unit is an SD40M-2 rebuild. It's a 8479, rebuilt by MK. And with this engine, a lot of detailing was involved, a lot of modifications. Custom did the side steps, the sides with the mailbox slots, full cab interior, lots of prototypical specific details on the nose, for example, lots of heavy weathering. Modified all the pilot details, of course, detailed that up. Lots of heavy weathering, complete YN2 paint job, custom decals. It's got the K9 APU light, full details on the underbody, the fuel tank. Lots of really nice details there. This is a really nice unit. It's a real the perfect picture of a early CSX YN2. Still had the horn on the roof, whip antenna. Something really iconic about that look. I miss that paint scheme. Next unit I did was 8863, another YN2 SD40-2. This one is a little bit more faded down, as you can see. 8863 got pretty beat up, but this was the last running YN2 SD40-2, I think, X-Conrail anyways. And so I detailed and modified this one, custom paint job again. Did all the work on the logos, all the specific details, relocated horn, K9 APU light, lift rings, all kinds of really nice details. Full detailing to the trucks, fuel tank, and the cab, of course, which has the interior. Again, kind of hard to see. Oh, actually, this one does not have an interior. Oh no. Well, I'm going to have to go back and add that at some point then. It does have the roof PTC antennas, which I think is cool. And then all of the detailing specifically on the front pilot there. Really nice engine. Okay, now these next couple are the Runaway Train set with the FP7, or rather the F7. Two GP7s, GP40-2. These guys were made, actually my second attempt at trying to make a set of these engines, and I started using a Bowser F7 for the 1500, and then the two Proto 2000 GP7s to make the trailing GP7s that were in the lash up. If any of you guys are familiar, Runaway Train 1985, pretty decent movie in terms of the train sequences and things like that. A little unrealistic, and the acting needs work, but it's a Canon film from the 80s. What do you expect? I like the train though. It has this really cool look with the smashed up GP40. I was able to film the process of building the GP40-2 there. It was a lot of work to actually make these and make all the snow effects, which were all done. Each of these have their stories of customization, but basically it's the same process for snow effects, weathering, and things like that. They're all custom painted, detailed. Had to refit new trucks on the Pro 2000s, for example. There's just a lot of little intricate little details that I had to do with these things to make them right. But it was worth it in the end because I have a really unique set of these. And of course I don't really have anywhere to display them right now, but at some point in time I'd like to actually make a display case for these. Because they're not really meant to run anytime soon. They can, but only the GP40-2 could theoretically pull anything, because that's the only one that I can actually put a decoder in. With these guys, they're pretty old and they're dummy engines anyway, so I kind of took out some of the internal components to actually make them run anyway. But anyways, that's enough about the Runaway Train set. I had to include that in this video though, because that's a very popular set of locomotives. And then the last two that I have on the table is a pair of older Athearn SD40s, SD40M-2s, rebuilt by Alstom for Felix and GCFX Alstom, their personal lease run. The 3041 there in the back, that's a complete repaint there. The Athearn green at the time was horrendous, so I repainted that with custom acrylic mixes. Completely detailed that and overhauled that to look like the prototype 3041, which is an New York Central, Penn Central SD40, I believe. It's got all the modified roof details, custom paint. It's got the spinning bearings on the trucks. Those are all real spinning bearings. And then the full pilot details, new handrails, for example. The 3059 was another unique engine that I had to do. This is a former high hood. So the nose is really wonky. As you can see, it has the steps where it would have gone all the way to the top of the hood, but they chopped the nose down and modified it. So it has all these really unique details to it. So again, another older Athearn, completely detailed from prototype photos, fitted with a new plow, underbody details, fuel tank details, completely repainted the green on this, redecaled everything. It's got all the heavy fading and grime work on the roof, lots of paint peeling and pitting, and certain details applied there to make it look a lot more authentic. And again, 3059 is a unit I've seen in real life. 3041 is a unit I've seen in real life. A lot of these units that I've actually personally modeled on this table here are units that I've either seen or have seen in photos or videos that I've wanted to make. And it's pretty cool because a lot of these that I actually do have on this table are units that I have seen in person or from many years ago, which is something I think is really cool about my collection. Like, these aren't units that I just spitballed and showed. I mean, some of them are. Like, I haven't personally ever seen like the SD40Ms like those, otherwise when I saw them in NREX patches, but it's just cool to actually model engines that I've personally seen, and I think that really adds to the fun of having this collection of engines, because these are all a lot of engines that I've personally seen, and they were passion projects that I wanted to make. A lot of these lease units, for example. So it's cool to have a collection of them now and really to look back, because you're looking at many, many, many hundreds of hours of work to get these all done and to get these created. Okay, so let's talk about layout locos. First up is HLCX 6337. It's an SD40R, built from an Athearn SD40. Prototypical details, custom paint, lots of weathering on this guy. It's currently equipped with a decoder, and so it's been doing its paces out here on the layout, running all kinds of stuff. It's my first Redbird, so it's got a really cool, striking, bright red scheme, and as you can see, it's very nicely weathered. The next unit I have here is another one I completed, HLCX 8169. This one, and this one were all completed this year. So I did all these three in the year 2023. 8169 is an Athearn -2, an older -2 with the Q fans, the really hard to find version. And with this guy here, I just painted most of the green. Repainted it rather, because the green on these early Athearns is terrible. So I repainted it with Tamiya colors, and then did all my custom patchwork and everything like that, heavily detailed, heavily weathered, to look like a really nice old lease unit. HLCX has, or used to have, a bunch of these XBNs. A lot of these have gone to different owners now. Some of them are still around, but they're in pretty bad shape, or they're in the process of being scrapped. The next one is 7014, and this is the first nose light BN unit I've done. So that was custom done there. I fitted a nose light to the nose there, changed a lot of the details, added a lot of the custom details, of course, weathered the whole thing, fixed the green. Again, all the green on this thing is repainted to make it more accurate. It's got the custom decals, custom number, equipped with the decoder, runs really well. The 8169 also runs really well. These two both actually do relatively well together, though I don't think I have any videos of them running together right now. This is my second CEFX Bluebird. This is a SD45 or SD40M-2 rebuild by Olom. 3140, it's an XSP SD40, 45 rather, and you can see it's got the nose light, so that's all rebuilt. Lots of custom details. Heavy modifications to the trucks, the pilots, cab, full cab interior there. All these have full cab interiors. These are the best units that I have that are runnable and are fully detailed and ready to go. So this one has, again, like I said, all the prototypical details, lots of really nice custom work done to it. All the decals are nicely applied and everything, and it looks really nice. The last one here is a really extensively reworked Athearn SD40 and the disappointing Furix scheme. The debacle with the newer Furix units that Athearn released was they completely botched the green. And I ended up using this to my advantage to model a unit that looks like it's been in storage for a number of years. And while I was also at it, I wanted to model a unit that was a GMD prototype, a GMD rebuild, because Furix not only has American SD40s that they rebuilt, but they also have the Canadian GMD SD40s that they rebuilt. And these have a lot of really unique features, as you can tell. These have modifications with the handrails. You can see it's a mixture of Canadian and EMD type handrails. It's still got the lift rings and a lot of the unique pilot details. The steps were rebuilt, but they retained the nose lights, which I thought was really cool. So I custom did the nose light on this unit. Complete redo on the green, because the green was just so bad. And after all the modifications I did to this thing, I needed to just repaint half the thing anyway. Redid all the green on this locomotive, redid all the gray. This was originally in silver. I repainted it gray to model an earlier unit, 3011, with the gray and green instead of the silver and green, which came later. Lots of heavy weathering on this one, as you can see. Lots of paint chipping and peeling. I love a good dirty Lease unit, and this one definitely fit the bill for that. It's a nice old GMD prototype, and again, it's currently in service out here on the layout. I've never shown this before, but this does count as locomotives, as they're my personal supply of engines. And I figured I would show these in the video just so you guys can see what other engines I actually do have. They're all engines I've been storing or saving or buying up as I get them. I find them on eBay, go to train shows and buy them. And I've accumulated a couple, but believe me, I had a lot more than this at one time. I probably had a whole other box just like this full of Atherns, but I've since really had to narrow down and sell a lot of stuff off. Like, this is still a lot of engines. But there are engines that I do need, in particular like UP stuff. I need modern UP. I got a Gevo there. I need modern GEs. So this is really what a lot of this stuff. And then I have rebuild fodder, like another BN unit, for example, a whiteface BN with the ditch lights, Canadian GMD unit for a CITX rebuild. Got a Union Pacific SD60, Southern Pacific SD45. This is intended to become LTE X7444 one day. Another long awaited project that I've never gotten around to doing. Recently got this CSX YN3 SD60. Got a Conrail SD50 in the quality. This is going to become a NREX SD50 Rio Grand 5371. That's going to be a really nice replica of the real 5371, which is currently in preservation. Got a UP SD40N right here, -2, and then 2 Burlington organs there, and then over here in my supply of Genesis and rivet counters, I got, of course, my CNO PRLX SD70 ACE and the much derided CNO patch out that was pretty famous for a second, and then they patched it back over. Newer Union Pacific ES44 AC with PTC faded. This one will probably weather up real nicely. Got a pre-patched BNSF Gevo. I got my BNSF-9, of course. I ended up getting a brand newer BNSF-9. This one is the 4337. It's actually got a lock sound decoder in it, Loc sound, whatever you want to say. So I'm not sure if I'll use that or not. It's got the exhaust cover too, which I'll probably remove because I don't need a unit with an exhaust cover. This one's going to get renumbered to 4555. And of course I got my ATSF-9. You got to have one of these, the 696 ATSF patched unit. Wanted one of those. I didn't get it when they first came out, so I ended up having to track one down. I paid a little bit more money for it. Not a horrible amount like some people are paying, but I got that. Got my first run of the GECX demo Tier 4s. I used to see these running on CSX back in 2015 and 2016 when they first started using them, and they were really cool, so I ended up choosing a number that I got to see twice, 2029. Brand new CSX AC4400 CW, YN2 as you can see, 113, another unit I've seen many times before. I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, yeah, okay. This is SP Repaint -9, another really nice modern engine I'll have to weather up, and then a brand new YN4, YN3C, CSX.com, number 37 there. Another unit I've seen a couple times, so this one I'm hoping to get weathered up here pretty soon, maybe in the next couple weeks, because I would like to get a CSX engine, a modern GE done. And I have all my GP38s right here. The latest run of the Genesis GP38-2s and the Lightning scheme. I don't know what Athern's hesitation is with doing Lightning schemes on the better Genesis units. Everyone wants GP40s, everyone wants more GP38s, and they're just like, nah, we'll give you some GP15s. Fortunately, I was able to snag all 3 numbers they did. I think they might have done 4 actually, but I got the 836, 563, 643. All different variations. One has the dual stack, one has the 4-stack variation with the dynamic brakes, and one has the 4-stack version without dynamic brakes. So I have all 3 versions that I wanted. They'll have the LEDs, they'll be equipped with decoders, they'll have working ditch lights and things like that, so those will be great yard power. So it's been a long process of locomotive building and detailing, but this is what I've accumulated, and of course I got plenty more locomotives to do in the future, so you guys can stay tuned for that. But I really again want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this was entertaining to you, and it's one that's been asked for so long, so hopefully that satisfies you guys. Another common question I get is a roster of rolling stock. That's going to be a little bit harder to do, but I do have plans on trying to maybe do something like that this coming year. if we can. It's going to be a lot of unboxing. This was a lot of work to try to get all these out, and quite frankly, there's a lot of cleaning that I got to do to these now before I put them away. But that's just part of the fun, you know. I like to inspect these and make sure they're all in running order before I get them put away. But it was just honestly fun to pull them out, and a heck of a lot of fun, honestly, to talk about the individual builds of all these engines. And of course, I could talk for hours about the stories of particularly building each individual engine, because it is a story and it's a process, and there's a lot of time in between each project. But hopefully this gives you an idea of like really the amount of love that I have for the hobby, the passion that I have in building these things. It really does show in my work, because I really try to make these things look as authentic as possible, and I think you guys can appreciate that. So again, I really thank you guys for watching this video. I'm really hoping the new year brings us some more fun projects like this, some more builds and things like that, and hopefully more locomotives that we can look forward to making. So thank you so much guys for watching here. Subscribe on YouTube for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.